systemic risk fears ever cause you to pause in your eagerness to buy equities? Back in 2008, 2009, why weren't you more aggressive back then?
Yeah. You'll probably find this interesting. Charlie and I, to my memory, in 53 years, I don't think we've ever had a discussion about buying a stock or a business or selling a stock or a business that has been where we've talked about macro affairs. I mean, if we find a business that we think we understand and we like the price at which it's being offered, we buy it. And it doesn't make any difference what the headlines are. It doesn't make any difference what the Federal Reserve is doing. It doesn't make any difference what's going on in Europe. We buy it. There's always going to be good and bad news out there, and which gets emphasized the most depends on the moods of people or newspaper editors or whomever. And there's a ton of bad. I bought my first stock, in June of '42, and what had happened, we were losing the war, until the Battle of Midway. I mean, so here was a country that all my older friends had gone, were disappeared. We weren't going to make any kinds of goods that people wanted. We were going to build battleships and things to drop in the sea, and we were losing, but stocks were cheap. And I wrote that article in October of 2008 in the Times that I should have written a few months later, but in the end I said we've just had a financial panic and it's going to flow over into the economy, and you're going to read all kinds of bad news, but so what? America's not going to go away, and stocks are cheap. We look to value, and we don't look to headlines at all, and we really don't. Everybody thinks that we sit around and talk about macro factors. We don't have any discussions about macro factors. Charlie?
Yeah, but we did keep liquid reserves at the bottom of a panic that if we'd known it was not going to get any worse, we would have spent. But because we didn't know that.
Yeah, we know what we don't know, and we know we don't want to go broke. I mean, we start with that, and we know you can't go broke if you got a fair amount of liquid reserves around and you don't have any near-term debts and so on. So, our first rule is always to play tomorrow, no matter what happens. But if we've got that covered, and we can find things that are attractive, we buy it. Well, Charlie has a little company called the Daily Journal Company, and he sat there with a whole lot of cash, and when 2008 came along, he went out and bought a few stocks. He won't tell me the names of them, but and that was the time to use the money, not to sit on it. Was that the name of a stock, Charlie?